Alright, hello, welcome back. I've got this 36 volt lithium phosphate battery. Take a look at that. It'll focus. And I got this battery. It came with the 1200 watt super lithium turbo scooter. Anyway, the charger on the right is the charger it came with. And initially I thought these two pots here were the only two pots in there, and I figured out the one on the right is for amperage, and the one on the left seemingly adjusts nothing, but I'm sure it adjusts something. I'm just not capable of measuring what it's changing, so I just moved it back to its original position so not to mess anything up. So I just thought it was a bad volt pot at first. And this charger, you'd plug it in and it would only put out about, it would start off at about 37 volts, and then it seemed like after you left it plugged in for a while, for like 10 minutes or something, it would warm up, and then it would start putting out 40.5 volts or whatever. Sometimes it wouldn't even get, you'd have to unplug it and plug it back in, and then it would be like 39 some change, and it never seemed to like want to just go right up to 40 right off the bat. So I figured something was wrong with it, and they told me, well, as long as it's charging up to 40 volts, it's fine. You know, we're not going to exchange it or anything. There's nothing wrong with it. Fine. So I figured I'd buy another one, you know, from a different seller anyway. And I ended up with another unit that's almost exactly like the original unit, although this one's, you know, not black. It's just a polished aluminum look. But anyway, inside they're very similar, and so I'm looking inside this thing after I get it, and I'm like, oh, there's a third pot in there. There's those two pots. You know, over here, underneath there, you can see there's two pots under there, just like the other one. But then I noticed there was another one right there. And I was like, you know what? I bet you there's one in the general area on the original one, tucked in that same position, in that same area. And sure enough, there is one in that area. It's just in a different position. You can't see the turn screw on it unless you get at this angle. So I totally missed it. And that's the volt pot. So I tweaked the one on the right so that when you plug it in now, you do get 40.5 volts right off the bat. It's bam, right on 40.5 volts. So this is going to be the float charger. So you can just leave this one plugged in all night. It's not going to charge the battery up past 40.5 volts. And that's considered a float charge on these batteries. And they'll last longer. And I've been doing some reading, and a lot of people found that if they're just float charging this battery all the time, that eventually it starts getting all out of whack and you get cells that aren't balancing out properly. And so it's recommended that you charge them up to a higher voltage, like at least once a week or so that you can force all the cells to properly balance. So I set this one up on the left to push out 43.6 volts. When I originally got this one, it read 42 volts right out of the box. No problems, real stable, quality control sticker on the side of it, unlike this one, which I only put one on it, so you can open it without damaging the quality control sticker. I guess they think it's a seal, so you can actually not damage the seal. They should put seals on both sides, so it can be tampered with without breaking the seal anyway. So yeah, so the one on the left's 43, 43.6, 40.5. And, you know, my son and I, we've gone over which is which and which to use when. This is basically a once a week deal. After it's been floated, you can put it on this, and it only takes about 30 minutes to top it off to the 43.6, and this battery will take it, the guy at the scooter, oh, you'll never get this battery to take a 42 volt or a 43 volt charge. Never. It'll never ever take it. Well, it did. How about that? I made it take 43.6, no problem. And then as soon as we took it off the charger, my son took it around the block. He took it for about a 3-mile ride to discharge it. Perfectly fine. And now the battery's sitting right at 40 volts because it started snowing now and it's gotten colder, so we're not going to be riding it for a while. So we're keeping the battery inside because it's 10 degrees out. 10 degrees would not be good for this battery. So you want to keep these inside in the winter. And so now we have 2 chargers. I've come to understand these aren't very good chargers. They probably won't even last that long. They are very similar. The one on the right has larger caps. Those are 200 volt 200 caps, and on the right those are 200 volt 180 caps. You can tell they're obviously smaller on the left. These units are very similar though. But I'm kind of glad that, I have 2 now. It's good to have a backup. One of them fries. I can just crack the other one open and maybe split the difference on the charge. I think eventually we're going to probably pick up a couple more e-bikes. So eventually probably going to get a much better charger anyway. So something that's digital and programmable and all that good stuff. So there's what the battery's sitting at. It's just sitting right on 40 volts. Got that hooked right into the battery. And I'm just going to pause this for a second and crank up both these chargers and let you see how I've set the voltages up on both of them. All right, so back. Hooked up to that charger, the black one that the bike originally came with. 40.5 volts. And again, you got the volt pot tucked up underneath the fuse in the front there on this particular model. And then the amperage pot is the one on the right out of the 2 in the back. And the same on this one. Amperage pot is on the right there. And then you get your volt pot tucked in here under the fuse. And I'm getting 40.5 out of that one. Alright. Now I've got it hooked up to the other charger. On the left. 43.6 volts. And both of these work just fine as of right now. These operate a little bit differently. Well, that green light's not as visible as the one on the right, but it's on. They both operate the same way. Alright, so there's that. This battery will take 43.6 volts. Both of these chargers work. I'm actually glad I figured this out because the one on the right was not, like I said, wasn't putting out 40.5 consistently and right off the bat, and just tweaking it seemed to straighten that out. So now it is at 40.5 when you plug it in, and the one on the left is 43.6 for more of a top-off charge. The safe limits on the battery say 46 or 44.6 volts. So I'm assuming that's the maximum voltage that you're allowed to put into the battery. And I'm staying under that a little bit, so 43.6 is giving it a little margin of error anyway. Oh, and also this new charger that I bought, the power pins weren't the same as my son's, so my son's charger. So in order for him to be able to just keep everything the same, I switched the pins to 1 and 3, just like his bike came. So both of these are now 1 and 3 instead of 1 and 2. And so you can plug either one of these into the bike, or you can use the adapter it came with either one of these chargers on the battery. Alright. Anyway, that's that. Yeah, it seemed to work out fine. Oh, the bike's running great too. So we're waiting for the weather to warm up, and then he's going to get out there and we'll make some more videos of him riding it and getting some speed runs out of it.